Hello and welcome to Hemmings Garage. My name's Junior Nevison. I'm here with Matt Litwin and Dave Conwill of our Hemmings Classic Car Magazine, and we're continuing on our 36 panel build. We are going to be tearing open our S-10 T5 transmission because if you want to go down the highway, you definitely need overdrive. So we're going to open this up today, make sure it's all good inside, and go through a little bit of the modifications we're going to have to do to make this up to our 292.
We got lucky with this transmission. We found it at Spring Carlisle.
We did, and we were on the lookout, and we found some Mustang units and some Camaro units, but given that we really wanted the Chevrolet bolt pattern on the front of the case, and we really wanted the forward shifter location to work with our 36 Chevy, an S10 unit was what we were hoping for, and we managed to find this one, which according to the tag is what, like a 91?
91 S10, yes.
Turns out we got very lucky. This was in the back of a pickup truck with the tailgate down, no price on it, a couple other parts lying around. We went back later, not very long later. We're kind of looking for the guy, and it turns out he was somewhere else on the field. We did another row, came back, and by great fortune, we happened to run into him. Started looking at it, and before long, there was a bunch of people hanging around.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted the same unit. Apparently, there was only one other on the show field, and the price was more than double.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I understand it, full disclosure, I've never dug into a T5 before, but that pin has to get knocked out first to separate from the shift rail. Then the tail housing comes off. Fifth gear on these is actually in the tail housing. It's kind of an afterthought, I think.
Because this was designed as the T4 4-speed first,
Yes.
right? And then they added fifth gear.
Yep, and they decided to put it in here in the tail housing. And
Which is sort of like how they turned the T85 into the T10 4-speed.
a little plastic shifter cup is in good shape. If you ever have a really sloppy shifter in a transmission, it's usually this little plastic insert that goes on the shifter ball. When they break, it goes real sloppy. So I'm going to grab a punch and start knocking that roll pin out. Check our depth here, see if we've cleared. Looks like it. Yep.
Ta-da!
All right, so the whole point of this exercise is to get the top cover off. But to do that, we need to take the tail housing off because the shift shaft runs right through the tail housing. So we knock that roll pin out, and then we can slide the block up, we can slide the tail shaft off, tail shaft housing, and then we can get the top cover off and then inspect the synchros and
Multi-step process for an easy check.
in their infinite wisdom, but you know, it's just how it was designed. There, so evidently, all you need to do is slide it to the side
Ah,
and off it pops.
Looks pretty clean.
I was gonna say,
What
look,
I understand, yeah, these little plastic guides can fail and give you really sloppy shifting.
Wow, that looks super clean. There's some damage to teeth here, I think.
no, that looks. Oh,
Is that
maybe.
normal? Are those damaged teeth, or is that...
No, that's just a little bit of crashing from shifting, because you see the one down below it. That's basically your direct drive. So as you shift into that, you get a little clashing with the gears, and that's why they're tapered.
Got ya.
But the most important is these brass synchros, because as you shift, they're basically loose and they allow a little bit of give as you shift the shift collar at speed. And when those points, they basically help lead the shift. when you go from one set to another, and if they get worn down or destroyed, it can make shifting hard or keeping it in gear hard. And that's basically all I wanted to check out on this. So you look at those points and see if they're rounded or worn out, and honestly, this thing looks like it's brand new.
I had the same thought.
I see so little wear in this. Fluid that's in the bottom out. Let's see what we've got on that.
It does not look shiny. Meaning metallic.
It is not a glitter factory, no.
No, no glitter.
There's a little bit, but you're always going to have that. That's a little bit normal.
It's metallic, not metal flake.
Yes.
You can see through the fluid, so it's not black. I can see the magnet in the bottom, and that's got some fuzz on it, but normal.
Is that on the drain plug?
No, it's actually, they put it in separately. You can see there's a little clip that holds it in.
Yeah.
So it's not on the drain plug, it's just set
So it's-
down in the bottom.
It's right here.
Yes.
But it doesn't come
Yeah.
through from the bottom.
No, you have to take it apart to get the magnet out.
Oh.
Kind of a design flaw, but I think much like the engine, we're good to go.
Great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, did you have to hog out these mounting bolts a little bit, or holes, in order to get it to fit the earlier bell housing?
Yes, because these housings use an 11 millimeter or 7/16, but the bell housing, wherever that went.
It's down here on the floor.
That uses 1/2 inch. And typically on these, the transmission is threaded and the bolts come in this way, but on the bell housing is threaded. So we're actually going in this way. So for the two top ones, we have to use a cap nut because there's no room to get a socket and a bolt in there.
Well, those aren't very 30s.
But they'll work. The beauty is, though, is despite all the differences in year, this is pretty much all gonna bolt together.
Excellent.
Obviously with modifications, you know, we had to cut an 1/8 of an inch off of the pilot input so it wouldn't contact the crank, because the pilot input is longer on these, and we do need to, or I need to trim down the input retainer.
The throw-out bearing rides on that.
There's 100 different names
Yeah.
for it, yes, but the input bearing retainer, so that needs to be cut down. But what I want to do is pull the transmission that's out of the 36 panel and get that input and get a rough measurement. So I'm going to have to mate this up to the engine a few times with the clutch in it and the pressure plate and everything, just to make sure that we're not too short or too long, so our throw-out bearing has room to move. And also the S-10 uses a 1-inch 14 spline input as opposed to the 1 1/8, 1 1/4, 10 spline that most of the GM V8s use, but the 4.3 Astro van from the late 80s, early 90s has an 11-inch clutch disc.
Nice.
So we're going to use the Astro 11-inch clutch disc with your typical small block 292 flywheel and pressure plate. So
Excellent.
should
Now-
all bolt together.
That's something to discuss as well. Radiator. Do we keep what's there? Do we upgrade to something a little newer?
I think if we're going to have air conditioning someday, we're going to want
Yes.
more radiator in the process.
We will have to contact our friends at USRadiator. All right. That's it.
Perfect.
There we
Huzzah!
go.
That's a relief. We bought a decent transmission, a great transmission for relatively inexpensive cost compared to what these T5 units are going for now.
Yes.
Again, another just lucky find for us, and another step closer to getting that Chevy back on the road.
But that'll be in the next episode. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. As always, thank you for watching.